In your book, it's a lot of business lessons that you want to impart to entrepreneurs. So when you think about Singapore businesses or Singapore businessmen, like, is there that similar thing where you feel that maybe Singaporean businesses maybe we haven't seen enough outside of Singapore that prepares us for the challenges of being a big, trying to go global like Banyan Tree has? Is there anything that Singaporean businesses and businessmen should be doing more of, or in order to better prepare for the world outside?
Yes, but not in exactly the way you put it. I don't see it. The way you put it is almost like saying there's something at fault with them. And I don't think there is. I guess my point, if I were to talk to any young Singaporean entrepreneur, is that unless you are happy for that business to remain very small and protected by its very nature, then you have to, if you start a business, you have to think of being global, not as a reward for success, but as an imperative for survival. That's the mindset that I think you have to have. So that's why for Banyan Tree, even though we haven't had a hotel here all these years for various reasons, and now we will be having one in Mandai, and even though we're so-called based in Singapore, from the very beginning, my view was that if we're even to survive, much less succeed, we have to be global. Because the industry I'm in is a global one. Travelers are global. They go from Phuket to Prague in one season. They go from Barcelona to Bangkok. So if you're not global, eventually you cannot compete. So I guess my advice to young Singaporeans when they're startups are, what business are you in? If you want to make some patisseries for the Singapore market and that can sustain you and you're happy with it, go for it. There's nothing wrong for that. But if you want to be going into fintech, for example, or anything to do with tech or larger consumer business, which would not be able to survive in Singapore unless you had scale, then you better think from day one, going global or regional is not something you do when you've become successful in the Singapore market. It is something you have to have as front of mind. Even though it may take you time to execute it, it has to be front of mind. And the same thing I say to people about brands, that you don't get a brand once you become successful in what you do. You have to start with thinking that if I don't have a strong brand, I'm also dead. So if there's any reason for our relative success internationally, it's because we've taken the notion of a strong brand and globalization as a prerequisite for survival.